Well, good morning, everybody. We're back again for our weekly virtual town hall sessions. We've been doing these since the first part of October and had some very excellent presentations and discussions over the past several weeks. And today is no exception to that. Couple things. One, we are recording this session, so if you want to go back later, you can go. It'll be on our website for viewing, and we'll push it out to people for them to pick it up at their convenience if you couldn't make it here at 10 o'clock today. Today, we're very happy to have the new president and CEO of Fox Valley Technical College, Chris Matheny. Chris is no stranger to us, but is a new face in that position. I think replacing Sue May. How long was Sue there? She was there.
A total at the institution of 38 years and 13 years in the
so she's
13 years in the CEO role. So big shoes to fill.
Tough shoes to fill, but you are up to the task. And like I said before, we've had some great experiences with Chris. But I thought maybe we'd just start, Chris, if you could just kind of before you start your comments and remarks, just introduce yourself to the folks and tell us a little bit more about you.
Sure. Well, thanks for the invitation to be here, John. I really appreciate it. Anytime I can talk about the college, I'm happy to do that. As you said, my name is Chris Matheny. I am the relatively new president and CEO of Fox Valley Technical College. I began in this role on August 1st of this year, serving after my predecessor, Susan May, who was in this post for 13 years and who I had the pleasure of working alongside of for 17 years prior to that. So I've been in the Fox Valley and at the college for 17 years. I spent the first 6 of those years as the vice president for student services here at the college, and the subsequent about 10 or 11 years as the chief academic officer. So my background really is in all things related to our curriculum and students. And so I'm really honored that our board of trustees felt that those background and experiences have prepared me well to take the helm here. So I'm happy to do that. I will say on a bit of a related note, related to chamber, I have an affinity and a really warm feeling for chambers in our area. I've been a member of the board of the Fox Valley Chamber of Commerce for about 6 years. I've chaired that board, and so I really want to reach out and say thank you for the work that you are doing in the southern half of our district and the Oshkosh Chamber, and really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today.
Great. Yeah, I was going to mention that. I know you've been, Becky Bartosik speaks very highly of you and your leadership with the chamber up there. So very good chamber and great leadership up there. So, thanks for doing that. I mean, in our business, we need folks like you to, help, develop strategies and move the business community forward. And education certainly is a big part of that. So thank you for that. One thing.
Both ways, for sure.
Yes. One thing before we have you start your comments, for those listening in, if you have a question you would like us to ask Chris later, just use the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen and plug that in, and we'll be going through questions after Chris's presentation. So with that, I think you have a screen to share with us.
I do, and I'll put that up and apologize in advance. I'll be looking back and forth and trying to keep my eyes on there. But if there's a question that comes up during the presentation, I know we have a good crowd here, but a relatively manageable crowd. So feel free to certainly jump in and ask me a question, raise a hand anytime. So just want to confirm, John, that you can see what I'm sharing there. Are you seeing the full screen part of that presentation? Okay, great. So obviously, why we're here and what we're doing. I was going to use this slide as my introductory slide, so we'll skip through that. But I thought rather than, I want to make sure I can advance there. Rather than assume that you all are intimately familiar with the college or know exactly what we do, I thought I'd spend a bit of time here and talking about the overview. So I just put up our mission here as a way to talk about the real heart of the work that we do is very, very similar to, I think, the mission of many of the chambers. Certainly, I know the work of the Oshkosh Chamber, which is really to serve both individuals, employers, and getting the skills that they need to support a workforce. And that last part, the economic vitality of our communities, I think John and I were talking a bit just in the opening part of this about the difficulty that we're all seeing in getting skilled labor, getting bodies, frankly, to the industries that we serve. And the technical colleges across the state of Wisconsin, there are 16 of us, are really focused on providing that workforce development and workforce role to our local and regional economies. And so I wanted to share that as a mission with you. We know that takes partners. And so as you can see, our vision there is really to engage all those partners, the business community, the K-12 community, certainly the chambers and economic development organizations in our communities to provide those solutions that help students, individuals bridge from an unskilled situation to a place where they have the skills that they need in order to be economically viable for themselves and their families and our communities. But understanding that for those individuals and sometimes for our employers and the communities that we serve, there are some pretty significant challenges. And interested in hearing your thoughts today about what those are and how we as a college can help meet those challenges as well. I won't read all of this to you. I thought it's interesting for me to pull this up once in a while and look at what it is that we value as an institution. Certainly you can see the pieces there that are important to us. This is a good spot for me to just pause for a moment and say that like many organizations, we are governed by a board of trustees. We have a 9-member board of trustees that is appointed by our K-12 school districts. So we have a very critical tie to making that transition from high school. And there are particular categories of membership, including employers and employees, K-12 superintendent, and some members at large from across our district who set the mission, vision, and values for the college. Speaking of our district, I want to just give you a sense of who it is that geographically we serve as Fox Valley Technical College. You can see we encompass all of 5 counties: Waupaca, Outagamie, Waushara, Winnebago, and Calumet, and then parts of 4 other counties stretching as far out to Portage and up to Shawano County, out toward the Lakeshore and Brown and Manitowoc counties, Chilton and Clintonville, on our district there. You can see we have should have some stars on this. I should have put them there. We have a regional center in Clintonville. We have a regional center in Chilton on the eastern part of our district, in Wautoma in the southwestern part. And then obviously we have campuses and centers in Oshkosh that I'll talk about in a minute. We see, a growing minority population in our district, somewhere around 500,000 people. And when we look demographically, pretty well split between genders. And we know that we need every one of those individuals to get some skills in order to be competitive in our workforce and serve our economies. When we look at who we are as a college overall and the total number of individuals that we serve, I just provided you with some statistics there that are typically pretty eye-opening for folks. We are by total number of individuals served the largest institution of higher education in the state of Wisconsin. We serve more people annually than UW-Madison or Milwaukee. Certainly more than any other technical college in the state. And part of that gets done through our degree and diploma programs. You can see that we have about 10,000 individuals enrolled in a degree or diploma program. Somewhere near 3,000 of them graduate with a skilled workforce credential every year. And for those individuals who are graduating, over 9 out of 10 of them are finding employment up 6 months after their graduation. We have pretty robust annual starting salary, which continues to go up given the economic demands. And what I think may be most interesting or eye-opening for the folks who are on this call related to the chamber and the business community is that we serve just about 2,000 employers a year with incumbent worker training. And so that is a situation in which we as a college, our faculty members with their particular expertise are going in and customizing training for a particular organization. So in the last year, we serve about 22,000 individuals with that kind of training engagement. I should mention that some large portion of those individuals are served by a National Criminal Justice Training Center, which does missing and exploited children work across the country through federal grants. And so we train police, first responders, law enforcement, social workers on how to identify and adjust or address missing and exploited children, internet crimes against children, and Amber Alert programs. And then I mentioned our tie. We have 28 K-12 school districts within that geography that I showed you. And we've had a significant push in the last several years for doing dual enrollment with those students. So those are about 5,000 individuals a year who are taking a Fox Valley Technical College course so that they can earn college credit while they're in school. And most importantly for us, so that they can earn those workforce skills and accelerate their entry into your organizations and businesses as they go forward. You well know this, but I thought it's always interesting for us to take a look at. About 20% of our economy is manufacturing. You can see the rest there. Our programs and offerings line up fairly well with how that looks in terms of being able to supply a skilled workforce to the different employment sectors within our district. Obviously, that differs from Oshkosh to Wautoma, and we adjust programming in those areas to meet those local business needs. Speaking of that, I wanted to just highlight some Oshkosh-specific programming. Again, we have associate degrees and technical diplomas. We offer certificates, which are short-term training options. And then obviously the customized training business work that we do. There are 48 offerings across 4 facilities in the Oshkosh community. The SJS Spanbauer Center is focused on aviation and construction, partial of our engineering technology piece. The Oshkosh Riverside campus is primarily business and now health, and I'll comment on that a bit down the way. FabTech is a diesel specific program for Caterpillar technician training through the Fabic CAT organization. We have a partnership with them in which we train about 20 diesel technicians a year to go straight into the Fabic organization. And then the Advanced Manufacturing Technology Center is the Miller sign along with Fox Valley Tech that you see out along Highway 41. It's welding and metal fabrication in that space to support that industry base in the Oshkosh communities. I wanted to just take a bit and mention the newest programming at Oshkosh Riverside. We've made some significant capital investments there. We've expanded our nursing programs. We have remodeled to the tune of about $1 million of infrastructure development there to provide a surgical technician program. That's new programming for us that will start in January with a state-of-the-art surgical tech lab experience offered exclusively at the Oshkosh Riverside campus with the idea and the expectation that that is going to be a significant draw in that community, not programming that we've offered ever before or at the Appleton campus. So we wanted to really put a stake in the ground and put some anchor programs at Oshkosh Riverside. And then over the course of the next year, in order to support that programming along with our general education programming, we'll be expanding our health labs and science labs at that campus so that students can fully start any one of our healthcare programs and finish there on the Oshkosh Riverside campus. John had asked me to address some key challenges, and I won't spend a huge amount of time going into the detail on every one of these, but as you can see, key challenges internally for the college. Our mission, as I shared with you earlier, is really to provide a skilled workforce. We can only do that if we can enroll students in sufficient enough numbers to meet that workforce demand. And as you can see, those two things really go in tandem. We are seeing obviously that, when you drive around our communities and up and down Highway 41, starting wages for what I'll call untrained or unskilled labor, somewhere in the $20 to $22 range with signing bonuses. And so that's had downward pressure on our enrollment. Certainly, understand the short-term demand for talent that happens within our employers, and they need to be competitive with the work that they're doing, and bringing in employees to do that is a big part of that. But what we're seeing is employers opting to take what I'll say are lesser and lesser skilled individuals. And in a minute, I'll show you a bit about our enrollment picture that I think demonstrates kind of where we're heading from a training and working standpoint. And then I'll just briefly mention that, our students, for many reasons, come to us with challenges and barriers, including, I think, what I've heard from a number of employers, things like childcare, reliable transportation, affordable housing, that really can serve as a barrier to them getting the education or to taking on employment in one of our local organizations. I thought it'd be interesting for you. I no matter where I go, I get the question about what does enrollment look like at the technical college, and so I prepared for our board an update at our last board meeting as a 5-year look back here at what enrollments look like. You can see that in 2017-18, what you're looking at is a headcount enrollment here for our summer and fall, and then spring enrollments. Over the course of the 2019 to 2021 year, we all know what has happened and what's been happening there. There was a significant drop in the total number of students that we saw enrolling at the college. What's encouraging is that over the course of this fall semester, we've seen that pick back up. It is not quite yet at pre-pandemic levels, but we're getting close. And we're seeing that overall, our enrollment in terms of total numbers of credits registered for is up about 1.5%. So you might ask, well, how does that happen when you have fewer individuals taking courses? And what I'll say to you is the makeup of that current enrollment is really mixed. So what you see is the headcount on associate degrees up. That's with the FTE, the full-time equivalent enrollment. That's basically a measure of total credit hours that students are taking is down. So the message there is we have more students pursuing degrees, but they're taking fewer credit hours. And why might that be? Well, they're working, right? They're going to work. They have competing interests. They have uncertainty around childcare and school closures and things like that. And so they're pulling back the reins a little bit. Where we do see increasing numbers of individuals making sustained commitments, or I'll say enrollments, is in our technical diplomas and our apprenticeships. So those are short-term offerings where we're seeing people really accelerate through those. And my analysis of that is simply that they want to get a workforce credential. They're willing to make a shorter-term investment. And those people who have come to the college to do that are focused on doing that and then moving on and getting out into the workforce. The basic skills work that we do is adult basic education, GED, HSED, and English language learning. And then you can see the vocational adult, which is the contract training piece that I was talking about. Both headcounts and our enrollments overall are up there. Community service is a very, very small portion of what we do. It's hobby-like courses, photography and sewing and things like that. Those things as a service to our community are coming back and bouncing back a bit after the pandemic. So we're happy to see that engagement as well. One of the ways that we respond to the challenges in the workforce is we have been responding is to create short-term stackable credentials. And I think I wanted to show this to the folks on this call because I think it's sometimes the assumption that students either have to be students or they have to be employees or they have to go through a full degree program before they can get something that is marketable or useful to both them and the employer. We have a number of certificates like this. I just picked the welding and metal fabrication one. Typically, we'd have an associate degree and a technical diploma. So those are the far right areas of this diagram. But over the last several years, understanding that there is a trend towards shorter term workforce ready credentials, we have worked with our employers to put together these stackable credentials where students can get a certificate or a credential that they can then use in the marketplace to signal a set of skills and go to work. And employers can use that as a screening mechanism to say students have a particular a set of skills that they've advised on. Every one of our programs has an advisory committee, and our advisory committees are fully on board with continuing to chunk down and respond to the workforce challenge in this way. Gives students an opportunity to build a career and credential along the way without getting to say this middle section here, taking 29 credits and leaving without anything. We understand that they may need to stop out for a bit and go to work. And so recognizing what they've done through that educational experience and being able to utilize that in the marketplace is a really important step and will continue to be for us going forward. I'll just take my last moment here to suggest that as a new leader, one of the things that the Board of Trustees asked that I do is put together a new strategic plan. Our current strategic plan and measures are expiring, so to speak, at the end of this year. We had planned through the end of this year. And so just wanted to let you know that there is a strategic planning process going on. It includes leaders from across our district, including Oshkosh. And by the end of May or June, I'll be suggesting to the board a strategic plan that includes how do we measure the success of the institution differently than we may have in the past. And certainly that partnership piece that I mentioned early on and the ability for us to put skilled workers into the organizations that all of you are a part of and run is going to be a key part of that. So with that, I think I've probably talked enough. What I'm going to do here is see if I can figure out how to stop sharing my screen. I had a little bit of a issue with this when we went through this before, John. And so I'm going to see if I can go back. There we go. There's the meeting controls. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you. I'm happy to take any questions that your audience might have or that you have for me. And
sure.
Thanks for the chance to be here.
Great. Very, very good overview, Chris. We certainly appreciate it. A couple of questions that have come up. Labor forces, primary on every employer's mind these days.
Right.
And what always impressed me about Fox Valley Tech specifically is their ability to respond to demand. To respond to issues that came up, whether that's through customized training. I mean, you guys have that's ingrained in your DNA. I mean, you've been doing that for decades.
Right.
But with that in mind, we all knew the labor market was going to shrink. We saw the demographics, coming this way for the last 20, 30 years. And now it's upon us, and skills and developing individuals is kind of key to that. So what are you seeing in terms of from employers? I mean, what are the most demand kind of upgrading of skills that employers are looking for?
Yeah. So I think there are several things, and it's the industry dependent and sometimes very job specific dependent, but there are opportunities, I think, particularly with larger employers, to implement strategies where they're growing their own, and where we as a college will come in and help them do some assessment of frontline production talent, for example, in a manufacturing situation, put together a customized training program that can move that frontline talent from let's just say production work to maybe setup work, right? Or the fixturing and jigging work that might be necessary in a welding application. And provide that training on the job so that there's a job that is pulling that individual through. The company sponsors that training, and then that individual and the company organization both win from having that talent there. And those training engagements, range from a weekly situation to a boot camp kind of situation where we can come in and do that. I know that we've worked closely with both Fox Valley Workforce Development Board and the Chamber to provide opportunities to look at grant programs that will help support that, either for a single employer or a consortium of employers. And I mentioned that because I think oftentimes one of the challenges that we see on the smaller or medium-sized businesses is they don't necessarily feel that they have the wherewithal to do a full-blown internal training program. So what we've done in those cases is really worked hard at putting together consortium groups of employers in like or related industries that may not be competitive or may be able to set their competitive differences aside for a few moments in order to put together, let's say, a mechanical maintenance program, which I know there are a number of employers in Oshkosh who have been involved with. And then we help find grant programs, or we help put together training programs that, when we can get a critical mass of people, lower the cost per participant to a reasonable amount, and individuals can grow their own talent that way. So there's that portion of kind of the incumbent worker training. And then I think that, as we look forward and as we're seeing some movement with employers, the most progressive of those are reaching further and further down into the K-12 system and helping set up situations, whether it's internships, co-ops, apprenticeship, which is, I think, just a wonderful way of sourcing and growing talent, but really getting those individuals engaged in those organizations before they walk across the stage at high school and make some other choices. And I think that's part of, it's not the single source answer, right? But that's part of the work that needs to happen.
The K-12 system, and if there's been, I don't want to say a knock on it, but they seem to push kids into four-year institutions, university kind of thing, and that's all good, and but not necessarily right for everybody. But if you take a look at average wages for skilled trades, I mean, manufacturing almost 75,000 per year, electricians 61 to 72,000, plumbers 66 to 80,000 per year. I mean, those are very, very good paying jobs. So how do we, what's the technical college doing to reach kids and try to better communicate with them and get more students and their parents more in tune with opportunities in the trades?
Yeah, so I think there are two things, right? The dual credit work that I showed to the group earlier. If we looked 5 years ago, we probably had 1,000 dual credit students. We've put a significant push on engaging those students in technical education coursework, so that they get a sense of an exposure to what the opportunities might be. What the magic bullet, I think, really there is for those individuals not only to get the coursework, but to also get the exposure to employers who are in their area who they just don't have a clue about what the opportunities might be. So although it's been stifled over the last 18 months or so, I think employer visits, the co-op options, getting kids who might be impressionable at that point into those employers is a real critical piece. So that's part one. The other part is we know that for 18-year-olds, I can tell you for my own 18-year-old, a number of them are going to just want to get out, right? And so we've worked really hard with the university system to have transferable credits, and those transferable credits go both ways. And so for So for an individual who goes and takes, let's say, a freshman year at UW-Milwaukee, and decides that that's not for him or her, they can come back and apply those general education credits directly to an associate degree at Fox Valley Tech. They'll have the 30 gen ed credits, and they can come do a year of technical training in a particular discipline, not have lost a beat, and then go on to one of our local organizations. And so that transferability piece, I think, for students coming back to the technical college is important. It's also important as a mechanism, I think, to sell the opportunity for a baccalaureate degree to individuals who may say, well, that's my ultimate goal. I don't think I can start at Fox Valley Tech. And we say, oh, yes, you can, right? You can come here, start here, go anywhere that you'd like to go. And oh, by the way, you can pick up a skill along the way. And when you get employed with one of our local organizations, they're likely to have a tuition remission program and can pay for those additional 2 years of your bachelor's degree.
Yeah. There's not a day that goes by that, we don't get a call from somebody saying, I'm looking for, XYZ. So how can employers better connect with the technical college in terms of helping them, maybe fill some of their current needs and also maybe some future needs?
Yeah, so I think there are a couple of things. One, there's always opportunity. I'm always willing to take employer phone calls. So you can call me directly. My information is listed right there on the website. So if you have a crazy idea or an idea you're not sure if it's crazy or not, I can certainly put you in touch with the right people at the college to help flesh that out. I would say, one of the best ways to get involved with our programs is to consider joining one of our advisory committees. We have, we don't have a limited number of seats on our advisory committee. We want broad-based understanding from our employer community about what their needs are. So for any individual who's interested in that, the division dean or the program dean is really the primary contact. But again, if you just get in contact with the college or the president's office and let us know that you're interested in getting more involved, that's one way. If there's a particular specific need in the business today that needs a solution, I think, for your chamber members, John, Patty has been a great resource and a connection to our deans, and she knows those folks well. So if they're looking for a trusted local contact, certainly reaching out to chamber members or reaching out to Patty or to yourself and putting them in touch with one of our deans or directors. But they're free to give us a call in our business and industry services area. Dale Walker leads that group and can help put them in touch with the right people at the college.
We found that that's been very helpful for us. As I mentioned before, that's one thing that's always very, very much impressed me with the technical college, their ability to move quickly, very, very agile as an organization. For a large organization, that's not easily done. Over the years, we've done some things on short-term training programs dating back to Kathy Zimmerman's time here in Oshkosh. So, and he talked about transferability of credits and working closer with four-year institutions and the ease of doing that. I mean, that wasn't the way it was 30 years ago, and that has changed a lot. So with that in mind, what do you see? What is the future of vocational technical education in the state in the next several years?
Yeah, well, that's a $64,000 question. Probably is way too cheap, right? It's a $64 billion question, maybe. I go back to, there's some national statistics around the number of individuals. The Lumina Foundation put out a study that said 60% of the jobs that are going to be required or going to be available are going to require some sort of post-secondary education. And so I'm an education advocate. I want students to make the right choice at the right time. And I think for many students coming out of high school, that will be a technical college. They can get the skills they need to go to work immediately. and they can set themselves up for a future where they can earn additional credentials if they need to. But I think when it comes to technology and the technical abilities that we see in things like automation or electrification of vehicles or things like that, we couldn't have trained those individuals 5 years ago. And so this continuous um, partnership with our employers to take employees who already have a skill set and work with them to create a curriculum or a training opportunity with the technical skills that they need to augment that skill set. We've talked a lot about lifelong learning, and I think what that's meant for a very long time has been that the individual is going to have to take responsibility for that lifelong learning. And I think going forward, that is certainly true. It's also true that the organizations who understand that their employees are going to need to engage in some sort of training, technical training going forward, are the ones who are going to win. And that's going to be important. And for us, as a college, that doesn't mean we choose the winners and losers. It means that we get to be a facilitator of that training, whether that's for a large organization like Oshkosh Corp, where we can go in and they can specifically do something for their employees, or whether it's a consortium of small businesses that we can help pull together and be sort of that neutral ground for the training and provide the capacity where those organizations may not have it. So I think that's a key piece going forward.
Sorry, my phone just went off. I should have,
That's okay.
should have muted that. Sorry about that. Career exploration is, something that's vital for, kids. And, at one point it was high school. Now we're drilling down to middle school already. And, getting to, have them have a broader feel for opportunities that are out there. I remember when I was, growing up, career, I think we may have had a career fair in high school, but, really what you knew was what you saw every day in school. So I grew up on a farm, so it was either be a farmer or become a teacher, so,
Right.
so,
We could teach you how to do both of those, John.
yeah, I know. Yeah, farming is not nothing that I want to continue doing again, but, is the college going to be offering camps again in the summer for middle and high schoolers?
Yeah, we certainly hope to. I think what used to be a camp, certainly the definition has changed. We are absolutely committed to providing career exploration opportunities for students going forward. From a middle school standpoint, we've partnered with Junior Achievement of Wisconsin to build out a career exploration center on our Appleton campus. They run that. It's open to individuals or students across Northeast Wisconsin, and they can get both career exploration and financial literacy training. I was just reading an article the other day about the missing skill set in the skills gap, and that they were talking about adulting as the missing skill set. Well, part of that is once you get this great job at $75,000 in a manufacturing situation, how do you appropriately budget your money, and how do you appropriately live your life so that you can continue to do that? And JA does a great job of helping with that. We have a lot of career development opportunities here at the college. It's most easy to get to those students while they are in school. And so we're partnering with our middle schools and high schools to get as many students on our campuses and in our centers as we possibly can. Obviously, the pandemic throws a monkey wrench into a lot of that. And so we're working with our school partners to figure that out. We've done a lot of virtual outreach to students. I won't argue and say that that's better or even equal to the hands-on opportunities that they get, but we're still trying to engage those students for whom some of them have come into their freshman year in high school and may never have set foot in their high school building yet, right? And they're going to be second semester sophomores, and so we're losing out on the opportunity to physically reach out and grab them, but we're reaching out to them in many virtual ways. And our campuses are open. We've been hosting open houses and career exploration opportunities when we can get the attention and the ability to do that. So summer, we haven't made a decision on. I saw Patty's question in the chat. Wouldn't like nothing more than to run some camps during the summer. We're gonna see what happens with this new viral variant and make some decisions here early in the new year about how to go forward with that.
It looks like we're nearing our 45-minute allotment here, but one last question. You kind of touched on this, before. I mean, you're going into strategic planning, working through your board of governors and reaching out to the community. So if you, if you were the individual who's going to be doing the plan yourself, what do you think is going to be the outcome of that in terms of impact on facilities, impact on programming, and those sorts of things?
Yeah, I think that I'll say at the 100,000-foot view, I think what we are learning is that we need even more flexibility in our program offerings, and we need to figure out ways to support students across the entire 365 days of the calendar year. To be honest, we have state-of-the-art facilities. We continue to have the support of our board to make investments in those facilities. We need them up and running 24/7, right? And in order to do that, we need partnerships, and we need to be able to provide the faculty and the equipment to be able to do that. I don't see, at least on the immediate horizon, that we've got any huge new building addition and projects going on. We have, I just showed you the enrollment picture. We built out a 2012 referendum at the height of our enrollment, and we were squeezed, but we certainly have some capacity. And I would say we have some capacity across the calendar, particularly across summer months, to be able to engage students and employers. And that all goes back to sort of acceleration of the workforce. So flexibility of programming and delivery, and accelerating people into the workforce, whether they're coming to us as 18-year-olds, they're coming to us as 25-year-olds, or they're coming to us as 16-year-olds. So I've talked a lot about, I'm going to kind of throwing this idea out to superintendents, that it would be fantastic, in my view, to have the ability to have students walk across the stage at high school graduation with their high school diploma and a Fox Valley Tech associate's degree in a particular technical discipline, and have the employer standing on the end of that stage with a job offer. Now, will we get there tomorrow? Probably not. Is that possible? It absolutely is. It's going to take some investment. It's going to take employers who are willing to do that. It will take K-12 superintendents who are willing to do that. And it will, mean that we've got to think really seriously about how we deliver some of our programming. So things are good. There's no Chicken Little, the sky is falling, but I think the pandemic has caused us to understand that people, whether that's our own employees or our students, are going to expect an increased level of flexibility going forward.
Well, there's certainly some exciting times coming up here, and what you described there at the end, I see that happening. I mean, you guys have been able to be very responsive to the marketplace, employer needs. So I don't doubt that one bit that you'll be able to do that. So. So with that, Chris, thank you very much for joining us. We do appreciate this. This will be on our website probably by early afternoon. Next week, we have our last installment of our virtual town halls. For this calendar year, we have U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin joining us next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So be looking for that. And with that, thank you for joining us. And Chris, again, thank you for
my pleasure
with us. And anything you need, just give us a holler.
Sounds great. Thanks, John. Have a great day, everyone.
You too.
Bye-bye.